My nan has always been my best friend. She is so mischievous, so funny, and we just connect on a different mental level to anything else that I've ever experienced. And I really wanted to get her on as a guest on the podcast, not just to share her with the world, which was an objective of mine. I wanted people to see this relationship for themselves rather than just take my word for it that my nan is that great. But also I wanted to have a recorded deep conversation with her to remember her by. And today we tackle some slightly uncomfortable and taboo subjects like the afterlife, religion, regrets in life as well. But it's a beautiful conversation and I love this woman to death. So I really hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to hear what you think and please let me know. Thank you. Man, thank you for coming on. Ever since I started doing the podcast, I wanted to have you on. And I wanted to have you on because we have some incredible conversations. We have a connection that when I try and tell people and explain it, it's quite hard to do. So I thought it'd be good to film a conversation with you. And yeah, up to you if we release it or not afterwards. But
thank you, Tom. I'm very flattered that you feel this way. Very apprehensive, obviously. I stutter a lot when I'm nervous, but I'm sure you can cope with that.
Okay. I love you. And
you too.
It's interesting. I remember when I was spending time in lockdown here, I would swim around the bay and you would meet me on the beach.
I was incredibly proud of you then, really proud, especially the day you saved the bee. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We were watching and Philip was with you and Philip was on one beach and you swam to the other and vice versa. And we saw you swimming and suddenly we saw one arm was absolutely still up in the air and we couldn't understand what it was. And Philip was so worried. He thought that you were in trouble. But when you got closer, you had a little bee that you'd rescued in the water, popped it on top of your hair. And when it had dried off, you brought it to shore and took it home and it just flew off. And we were all so incredibly proud of that. It was an achievement, wasn't it?
How much do I owe you for telling that story?
Oh, well, it's the story I'm proud to tell. I mean, you swim around, you see this bee and you didn't just sort of ignore it. You actually put it on your head and it trusted you enough to be safe there and not sting you until you brought it ashore.
And Philip thought I'd been stung by a jellyfish because I was swimming so weirdly.
That's
for the
right,
last,
one-armed. Yeah,
absolutely. Half a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, you used to meet me on the beach by your place with a towel and some clean clothes, and then I'd sit there while I warmed up, have some chips.
Oh, chips.
Yeah, you'd sometimes catcall some women for me. And
very quietly.
trying to set me up. But there's some pretty special memories for me.
For me too.
And one of the things that I was most looking forward to about coming home was having the chance to do things like that again, come around and just slob out at yours.
We can stop out, no longer swimming because it's November. Although you do a swim, I'm not going to sit on the beach. And there won't be any young ladies for me to be proud of you in. But it's lovely to have you here. And we do things together that I wouldn't do with anybody else. Watch crap on television right to the end and eat what we want, do what we want and say what we want. It's lovely and relaxing.
I had a guest on recently who was quite into astrology. You know what astrology is, with the
study of the stars.
The study of the stars and believing that it dictates our lives and everything else. And I don't really buy into that. But we talk about this sort of connection that we have. And we are born one day apart, right?
Exactly. You're the 14th, I'm the 15th, in the middle month of the year.
Yeah. And I don't know, do you think there's anything in that?
Now, a lot of people believe in stars and you have a certain character because you're born on a certain star. No, I don't. I just believe that people like each other or they don't.
And you've always been my partner in crime.
Absolutely. I have a vase engraved to that. In fact, if I'd had it ready, I could have showed. It's lovely. And yeah, we have a little giggle. We can look at each other and know what we're thinking and nobody else can.
Yeah.
Usually it's somebody else's expense.
And look at each other and you can make me laugh in situations that I shouldn't be.
Because I've got funny face.
Yeah, I think I remember it all starting when I was maybe 10 or 11.
Mm-mm.
And you caught me looking at the boobs on the.
We were in a newsagent's, weren't
The
we?
newsagent, yeah. And I remember you caught me, and I was like petrified. And I think I'd opened page 3 of the Sun or something. And I thought I was going to get in trouble, and instead you bought me the magazine so I could look at it at home.
And you blame your sexual interest on me ever since, haven't you?
Exactly. Yeah, it was all downhill from there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think we've always had that, and I think it's got stronger as we've got older as well.
I think so too. And I was very, very proud when your mum was expecting a baby and she asked me to be her birthing partner, and it was you. And I was the first one to say you, absolutely. And it was incredible. And I've been your mum's birthing partner for all 3 of her children, and I have that bond with them. But for you, it was the first one that I don't know what it is. I can't explain it to you. It's there.
I was a proper ginger baby.
Oh, you had this lovely, lovely, oh, but no, it was ginger fur on your head, which is the first thing we saw. And before you were even born, you were yelling. The head was through and you were yelling. And no, it was incredible.
It's 30 years ago now.
It was, really, yeah. And as a little boy, you're always very, very interested in everything. You needed to know how things worked. And you couldn't just say, oh, the bees collects pollen and it takes it back to a hive. You wanted to know where it put the pollen, what did it do when it got back to the hive? And some of these things I didn't have answers for. So I used to make up stories. And you would go and tell your friends these stories that I had made up. I think they must have thought you were mad. Yeah, we've had fun. We're still having fun.
Yeah, always been a bad influence.
No, I'm cooking.
I've been a bad influence on you on occasions as well.
Yes, this is very true. We have competitions which I won't go into. Sometimes I win, sometimes you win.
And sometimes you get on your diet and then I come around and we just put on some trash TV and just eat a load of crap.
Well, it's a nice excuse, and I make up for it when you've gone. I starve for a week.
On my bar.
Can you imagine that?
No.
No. You're lovely to have around, Tom, and you have a lovely, strong sense about you, a dependency. I feel safe with you.
I feel safe with you. I think that's one thing that's always been there as well. There's never this pressure to make small talk or anything like that.
Yeah.
At times we've come and sat here and
We don't talk or we talk.
yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
It's special. You
mean I've got special needs, so I'm special?
both.
I give it back.
We've been out in public a few times and people have had suspicions of your special needs for sure.
Yes, no.
Maybe mine too. I have never been scared of death for myself, or never really as a thought. And you're 87. You're still like, you're sharp as a tack. You're still witty, funny, and
You're biased, but thank you.
you are. But you're going to see it here as well. But recently, I've found that I've started to worry about it more.
Worry about what?
Death.
Right.
And I remember saying to you when I was here last and spending some time in Cornwall, I wish you could live in my head. So
You was absolutely.
I might have to cut that bit out of the podcast. I wish you could live in my head because I share pretty much everything with you and I can talk to you about anything. And whenever anything interesting happens in my life, I want to tell you about it and tell you what's going on. And again, one of the big reasons why I wanted to come back and spend such an extended period here is because you're getting older. And I want to spend as much time with you as I can while I can, because one thing that I think is I never want to regret having missed a day or anything else. And I haven't told you this yet, actually. So this is going to be the first time I mentioned it. But when I was here the other day and you said, do you want to stay over? And I said, no, I've got my bed, I've got my toothbrush and everything at home. I'd like to go back and just do my own thing. And I got back and I saw Mum and Philip when I got back in. I said, I regretted not staying over and having a sleepover. And I think Mum said, I don't think you'd find that bed very comfortable. And I said, it's not what it's about, is it? It'd be fun to have like a sleepover. And so early next week, I'm going to come over and we're going to watch, hopefully a better movie than I did last time.
I'll pick the movie this time. It did make me think though, but yes, you can have a sleepover anytime. I'm particularly glad you didn't that night because the sheets hadn't been changed, but they have been changed since. I had a visitor last week.
So it's ready for me.
And it's ready for you now.
But yeah, I think.
What kind of things were you thinking that you wanted to share with me?
In which occasion?
When you were looking up at the stars.
When I was wishing you could live in my head.
Yeah.
I think that was specifically about the stars. So it was probably 10:30 at night maybe, and it was dark, but it was just the most beautiful sky. And I called you and told you to go out into your balcony and look. You couldn't quite see that one.
See a damn thing.
from your window. But I was just thinking, I wish that you were there with me to look at them. And I think that was what got me thinking. I was like, I just wish that you could just tap into you.
It would be nice. But then with today's technology, we can do that, can't we? When you were in Kuala Lumpur, we FaceTimed quite a bit and we had that contact. And you could say to me, well, I'm a bit tired now, and I wasn't upset that you wanted to leave perhaps earlier than I wanted you to be. But I was always very tongue-tied on them, and I didn't say the things to you that I wanted to say, you know? Whereas when we're together, we can have those little quiet. I felt I had to speak all the time.
On the
FaceTime
camera, yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't have that quiet bit in between time.
I found that with doing the podcast, the connection that you have with someone when you're a person is much greater than it can be on a Zoom call. Like having meetings with clients, they'll always last twice as long in person as they will on a camera, because then you have time for the niceties, you see everything else. But whenever you're on a video call, it feels like you're there to get something done.
And you feel you've got to make use of it all the time. You can't just sit and look at each other. Now, what can I say next? I want to say this, but, it doesn't always work for me.
It's definitely different getting back here and in person. But yeah, I guess that's what I was thinking. I wish that I could just tap in and share things with you.
It'd be nice. But you see, Tom, every time you see me now, and I'm getting older, it could be the last, okay? But I don't want you to ever think that. I want you to think that I'm always going to be there. So, don't get me. You're getting emotional. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just want to say to you, don't ever think that I'm not there, because I will be there. If you believe that. It's stupid. No, I don't believe that there is an afterlife. I've thought about it an awful lot, and when you get older, you tend to think about it. And when you're younger, you think, it's absolutely impossible. But like they say, there's no atheists on the battlefield, and there's no not believing. When you get older, you suddenly start thinking, well, what's it all been for? And I can look back at my life and I can see my children and my children's children, and they've got it all before them. They've got it all to come. Everything that I've had, you've got it all to come. So enjoy it and do your own thing.
It doesn't. How do I best explain the feeling? I think it definitely helps me be more present, and it helps me appreciate things more. With what you were saying about every time that I see you, it could be the last. And there's no immediate signs to say that's going to be the case, right? But you're 87. You're 87 as it is. And when I talk to people about my 87-year-old grandmother, they automatically have assumptions of every other 87-odd-year-old that they know.
Thank you.
And you're not that. So, I mean, in my head, I'm still banking on having another 15 years with you. But yeah, it definitely makes me appreciate these moments as well. Like when I went back and was talking to Mum after being here the other night, I was very mindful of the time that I'd spent. And I thought, I wish I could have slept over. You know what I
It
mean?
made no difference. It would have looked too happy, but it made no difference.
But wouldn't there just be something fun about it? I mean,
Could be.
staying up late watching crap.
Eating crap,
Yeah.
talking crap.
Yeah, you get to cook me breakfast the next day.
Oh, no.
No?
No, I don't cook.
That's a lie.
No, I don't enjoy cooking anymore. But yes, you should have breakfast. Like porridge.
You're always trying to force some kind of food down me.
I used to be dreadful for that. No.
Yeah.
But now, because I've been on a diet because of my weight. That is why one goes on a diet. But because of my health, it's been beneficial for me to lose some weight. So your mum gave me some advice, and she said, "Don't buy all the naughties." And I said, "Well, I have guests coming. I like to give them something nice. Don't buy it, Mum. Just explain to them." And because of that, I don't have the kind of cupboard and fridge that I used to have. So when I say, "Would you like something to eat?" and you say, "No, thanks," I'm kind of grateful sometimes because it isn't there for me to get for you.
Yeah. It's good that you do. You said that as you get older, you find yourself becoming more of a believer.
Well, I wonder, there's got to be something, Tom. I mean, I'm not religious. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the Bible. I think it's all man-made, manufactured. There are some things you can't explain. There's things in nature you can't explain. And I don't think that you can give thanks to God for all the good things and not give him any blame for all the bad things.
Mm.
So therefore, what is afterlife? Is it something that we've been told that we're going to have? This is why we must behave on earth. Like some religions believe you're going to go to hell if you're naughty and heaven if you're good. There isn't a hell or a heaven. It's a man-made thing, excuse me, to make you be good. Yeah. And, but the afterlife is something different. I knew nothing before I was born. And I knew nothing until I was about 2 or 3 years old. Then I have memories there. So what is death? I mean, the only thing I'm frightened about in death is how I'm going to die. I don't want it long and lingering. And am I going to get run over? Am I going to die in my sleep? That's my only fear of death. After death, I know nothing about it. And so I don't believe in it really.
So that's what you think when you go that it will just be.
I just think it'll be like it was before I was born. I didn't. But there again, I did believe once that when a person died, their spirit went into that of a newborn baby. And there are some things you can't explain, like children abroad, that suddenly children can speak in an old, out-of-date language of hundreds of years ago, or have memories of things. Now, my mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, she was what we call, she could see things. She had incredible insight into something that was going to happen. And some things did happen. And I can't explain them to you. She had visions of a bus ploughing into a bus stop with children in the bus stop. And 2 weeks later in Maidstone in Kent, a bus ploughed into a group of young cadets at a bus stop. How do you explain that? Coincidence. My dreams are vivid, and I dream of people and places I've never been or never seen. How can my mind conjure up this image? I've got a good imagination, but it's not super quick that I can see all these things in the dream. So there are some things that aren't explained and some things I think it's better I don't know. I'm not scared of the afterlife. I'm just scared of dying. I'm just scared of how I'm going to die.
Yeah, no one knows, right? And a lot of people feel like they need a purpose. As you say, what's it all for? They need something to cling on to.
That's how religion started in every country, whether they worshipped an idol, the sun, the moon, or God. Somebody needs something. And people have exploited that throughout the ages. I don't believe there is a God, but however, is there an afterlife? Do you believe?
All I believe is that no one knows.
No one's come back to tell us, I think.
Well, apparently someone has. But yeah, it was a couple of thousand years ago. I think religion is a net positive in that it gives a lot of people purpose. It gives a lot of people meaning, community, gives them guidelines to live by. the amount of religions that there are, and obviously the conflicts between them, that's another side, right? I don't think anyone's got it right. There's a comedy sketch, Billy Connolly, and he said, "Oh, there's 20,000 religions in the world, but don't worry, you've got the right one. Everyone else is wrong."
Well, yeah, everybody believes that, don't they?
Everyone believes that they've got the right one, and I don't think that it is just nothing when you go. But I'm not going to pretend to know what it is, right? And there's all kinds of theories that you can have of souls going back into a pool, or
that was what I was thinking once. Yeah.
an interesting one that I did kind of buy into a bit is that all humans have the same soul, and then we're just an extension in each of these bodies. But an interesting point with that thought experiment is how much nicer of a place the world would be if everyone
I was
believed
just thinking that there would be no wars, would there? No conflict.
If everyone believed that everyone they met was just them from different circumstance, I think everyone would be a lot kinder to each other. And yeah, I think I buy into that a little bit. I'm not saying that it's definitely the case, but I don't think there's any harm in buying into that a little bit.
It's no harm in believing in something, and there is something somewhere, but I think it's science, and I believe in science. We are miracles. The human body is a miracle. The birth is a miracle. Using the word miracle biblically, not biblically, I mean, because it is a phenomenon. And when you die, your body, but what about this brain? What about this wonderful brain you've got, and how clever people? Is that all wasted? No, because they've done something with their lives. They've passed it on to somebody or something. Yeah. It's like a bag of sweets, isn't it? Once it's empty, you throw the wrapper away, and that's your body. You've absorbed those sweets, and I've absorbed all my knowledge, and clever people have absorbed all and shared their knowledge. And that's what makes the world for me. I know you can stop now, can't you, and take this out of it? I think I'm probably. Yeah. So much I need to say, and I can't articulate it, you know?
I think this is one of those subjects that
you're sitting around with a bottle of wine, and it comes up, doesn't it? And everybody's talking about it. Everybody's got a different view, and everybody's arguing. And that is a miniature world, because all countries are arguing that mine is better than yours, you know? But what are you talking about? You go to hell. It's crap. It's not. It's nonsense. Yeah, we've had many discussions on a Saturday night in the lounge with my friends, and we all think differently. And if there is a God, and if you do believe in the goodness of God and the goodness of people, you wouldn't argue with somebody that you're wrong because you believe in something different. You'd allow those people to have that belief in their own differency. Why have these wars? Is it over land? Is it religion? Why? Neighbours can't get on. It's usually over land or kids or dogs or something. I'd love Shangri-La. I really would. I'd love the world to be Shangri-La. Then that's what it is.
You said we need a reason why. What's it all for, right? Have you got any thoughts of what it was all for?
I don't really know, Tom. I'm pretty insular in my family. I want my family. I'm love the way that my family is branching out and growing up and being their own people. What's it all for? Oh, it was some big experiment of somebody's. You know, somebody somewhere, something. You talk about the stars and the millions of stars. There could be somebody up there, just like we are, looking down and seeing us as a star. We don't know what's going on at that planet. We're not making a better world, that's for sure. And technology is overtaking. Technology is frightening. I mean, what you're doing here is lovely. It's fun, but you can AI on some of this. Make me say things I haven't said, and I will deny it in court. That's remarkable. That's science.
Mm.
That's not God.
Of everything that you've had in your life, what has come closest to fulfilling that sense of purpose?
Seeing my daughter and my daughter's children and my son's son grow up into lovely human beings. Some of them are flawed, some of them aren't. Can you cut that bit out? The greatest thing for me.
They're all bloody flawed.
I think that, well, I am, and I blame a lot of that on me. I mean, I didn't have what you call a conventional childhood. I was born in 1937, 2 years before the war started. So my earliest memories are of being in the war. I knew no different. There wasn't a man about. It was just my mum, her husband. My father was in the army and away. And I didn't meet this man until I was about 4 years old. And by that time, I'd created, excuse me, this little bubble of me and my mum and my cousins. And that was my only world. And then this sort of man intruded into that world. And it wasn't until I was 30 that I found out that he wasn't my real father. And that is a long and different story. But I didn't have what I call a good role model to choose as a husband and a father for my children. And I chose the wrong man. But I had two lovely children. And I was the best mother that I could have been at that time. And I wasn't a good mother. And this is why I try and make up for it now with my grandchildren. I try and do things that I wish I'd done with my own children. And that is my fulfillment, is seeing these kids grow up, telling them stories that they're going to tell their kids. And a little bit of me will go on and forever.
Why do you say you don't think you were a good mum?
I had a pretty unconventional upbringing, and I didn't know some of the things you do as a mum. And my mum was very good to me, but she had to work very hard. She had very little money and she worked hard. And I was on my own a lot with my elderly grandparents during the war. So I didn't see how other families lived. So that when I had my own children, I didn't have a lot to pass on to them about being children, about learning things and whatever. I was unhappy in my marriage, and therefore I wasn't very happy towards the children. I didn't ill-treat them or anything. They were well fed and clothed as best I could. There's lots and lots of things I feel now that I can do with my grandchildren, or I did with my younger grandchildren when they were younger, that I could have done with my own children. And that's a kind of guilt, which is very sad, really. But I'm trying to make up for it now.
I obviously wasn't around back then.
You weren't?
But I think my mum is telling evidence that you did a pretty good job, because
your mum is a product of her own making. She has been very, very strong throughout. She's my right arm. No, she's a wonderful person, your mum. And I can't say that that's due to her upbringing. I think that's due to her.
No, but you can't take it completely out of the equation either. But she's an incredible mother, and
she's an incredible cook, and I never taught her how to.
Cooking's different.
She's a great baker, but I wouldn't have her in my kitchen and baking and cooking because it made a mess. You know, that's one thing I'm lacking. But then she has it in her anyway. I didn't teach it to her, but she has it in her.
I will have her on the podcast at some point as well. And I know that she will say that you're an incredible role model for her. And I think
she will say that because she loves me.
I don't think she would say it if it wasn't true.
I do feel very guilty that because I was unhappy, I passed that unhappiness on to them. And particularly with my son, the eldest, who I'm now estranged from, and that makes me very sad. But he has a son called Ben, and he's one of my grandsons, obviously. And I count him in my family. Do you know where I was going with this? Yeah. Where was I going then? You know, Ben,
It's all right. I'll clip the last.
I hope you can.
Yeah.
Please.
See if you remember where you're going, and then start again if you want to.
Talking about me and the kids and the upbringing, how unhappy I was. It's a bit of a sob story. It can be a pity me story in my marriage and my life, but I don't want it to be. My son didn't have a good father. My daughter didn't have a good father. So they both grew up not knowing what a good marriage was. And they've both made mistakes in marriages. But those mistakes have produced some wonderful kids.
Mm.
And that's what it's all about. Huh?
That's the purpose.
That's the purpose of my marriage. Make up for when I was younger and enjoy what I've got now. And I am enjoying life at the moment. I saw a meme the other day about being over 60, which yeah. I don't have to answer to anybody. I've got my own room. I can mess it up if I want to. I've got pocket money once a month coming through. And I'm happy as a sandboy.
Mm.
I have enough money to enjoy and to stay here and have friends and do what I want.
I saw something, and obviously again wouldn't know, not to parent as far as I know, and a grandparent, but being a grandparent is having a second chance at parenthood.
Exactly.
And my mum cornered me a couple of weeks ago to raise the grandchildren conversation with me. And she wouldn't want me to have kids that I wasn't ready for, but she's ready to be a grandmother.
Yeah.
And she carries that same guilt that you do, where you feel that you messed up. She hasn't forgiven herself for some of the things that...
Yes, you see, that is something I could have passed on.
Maybe. But I think from the outside perspective, you would say she's done a wonderful job.
With what she had to work with, yes, she's done a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Things were very hard for her too.
And I know she would say the same for you. But yeah, she feels like she wants that second chance to try and rectify some of the things that were less than perfect in my upbringing, childhood. And I want to give her that chance. I do.
But you can't do it just for your mum. You've got to do it for you.
Yes.
You've got to do it when you're ready, Tom.
Give me another 5 years, Mum.
I mean, she got Alex and William. Let them produce.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely got some shit to work through before I'm ready. Otherwise, I'm going to be having a few mistakes.
I think you make a wonderful father. I really do. And I think your mum gave you everything she possibly could, but she didn't have a good role model, did she? And she didn't quite know what to expect. And she was very starved of male affection when she was a child. And I think this is why she might have made a couple of bad choices, because when you want affection, you'll take affection without thinking of what comes after. Yeah. And like you just said, she's blaming herself for things, but I think she's a perfect mother. I think she's been as good to you boys as she possibly could be. And I don't think you've lacked in affection or love or being played with or taken places. Oh gosh. Our life revolved around taking you 3 hours somewhere.
Yeah.
I tell you, when I used to go out sometimes, and I was always drinking Diet Coke, and I would take you out, William in the pushchair, Alex toddling and you walking, and we'd go to a cafe, and Mother would sit me down at the table with the children, and she'd go up to the counter and order, and she'd be too far away to shout, but she'd say, tea, coffee, or... and that was Coke. And we still do it. She's got a great sense of humour, and we have lots and lots of giggles.
You both do. You two have got an incredible connection and bond as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
When was the last time you went a day without speaking to each other?
Possibly when you were in Morzine, which was when you were 2 years old in France. Yeah. No, we do speak every day. And she lives now within 20 minutes walk from me, and she'll often walk over. But if she could come every day, she would. But sometimes I think she has a life to live too. She has to do things for her. And she's just beginning to do that. She's taking up drawing, which I think she's incredibly talented at. She's enjoying it, but she's a perfectionist. She's never happy with anything that she's produced, and some of it is beautiful. And she's now doing exercise for herself, for her well-being. She's happily married. She's well settled. She's got her grandchildren, my grandchildren, their children. Yeah, she's at the best place I think she's ever been.
Yeah. She's just retired and
Just retired,
got a
exactly.
wonderful husband now. It's perfect for her.
Who adores her.
Yeah.
And got a family. I think she would love all her boys to be near her, as would we both. We try to cram so much into this short time that we have. It was lovely.
It is the downside of living the other side of the world.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm so to bits with what you're doing. And when you wanted to go backpacking, it was all a bit nail biting. You know, is he going to be okay? What's going to happen to him? Will he have enough money? Will he starve? Will he sleep on a bench in an airport or something? Which I know you have done. You know, but you've done it and you've paid your way, and and it made you, Tom, in a way. And I watched one of your podcasts with one of your friends, Dale, and you said that you were in such a small world here in Cornwall that you didn't really feel you fitted. But then when you went out and you went to other countries and you met other people, you knew you did fit. And you were Tom, and you developed. I mean, I can't name a country that I don't think haven't been to. And you're still traveling. You're still not quite settled, but you're very, very strong human being. And you developed a gentleness about you, which I think is lovely. You're still strong, but you're very gentle. You're a thirst for adventure. You're unique.
I think I'm becoming more settled as I get older. Like, I haven't got the urge to keep moving as frequently as I did, but I still do feel like
You want adventure, don't you? Is that you're afraid of?
I want both. The grass is always greener, right? Like right now, I'm in between locations. I have just set up a new job after leaving the last one and still going through the turmoil of still moving all my clients over, which is taking way longer than it should have. And I crave that stability. I crave having a home and building a routine and having it as my place again. But then as soon as I'm in that for too long, I just get these itchy feet and I feel the need to spin the wheel, you know? Like in Newcastle, I had a girlfriend who was great. Like, did everything that a good girlfriend should do. We had a great time together. I had a really good job, paying a decent wage, and an incredible group of friends. I just wanted to throw it all away to go move to the other side of the world, to go and work with a bunch of people that I didn't know. And I'd already had inklings that maybe they weren't the best fit for me, but it was just the spinning the wheel, you know, the excitement, just...
What's over there?
Yeah, what's over there?
You were always like that as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is next? What's happening over there?
The grass is always greener.
I wonder if you would feel differently coming back to UK, you'd always stay with Mum, obviously, because you haven't got anywhere else. I wonder if it would be different if you had your own place to come back to.
Maybe.
But you're not a loner. You like to be on your own. You like your own company, but you're not a true loner. You do like to be where it's going, or to be where it's happening, don't you?
I think everyone needs social interaction. And the actual loners are very, very few and far between, in the sense that they don't want or need any other human interaction. I can't think of one person that I know in my life, but I mean, maybe that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If they're a loner, why would I know them?
Do you think of it as?
Right.
Go away, God. Yes, you're right, because in here there's 60 flats. I live in a block of flats, as you know, there's 60 flats. And most of them are occupied, and everybody is different and individual. You get some people that will hardly acknowledge you, can't look you in the eye. You don't even know their surnames. And you get some who are in the communal lounge from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night to be with people, to see people coming and going. And I have a group of friends, which I quite like, because we don't have to live in each other's pockets. They can go off and do things without me. I can go off and do things without them, and we don't get upset or annoyed. I I don't have outside friends because I'm not from Cornwall, I'm not from Falmouth. These two ladies do have outside friends, and that's great because it makes them interesting. They're going to tell me what they've done. And sometimes I dread my doorbell going, but if I do, it's always a come on in, I never turn anybody away and have a cup of coffee and that. And because there are some very lonely people here and don't want people to feel lonely, but sometimes I'm very happy with my own company. I never crave companionship. I crave the presence of certain people, which is nice. And I'm getting my fill up until the 21st.
Yeah. The special connection that we spoke about at the beginning of this, that we have, you've also got it with Mum. You've also got it with a couple of your other grandchildren as well. I think there's a common denominator there, and you're going to hate this because you hate that I put you on a pedestal. And
You do put me on a pedestal, and one day, Tom, I am going to fall.
well, you've been on it for 30 years and not a waiver, so.
Yeah, but my balance isn't as good as it used to be. Yeah, one day I'm going to get up.
And the reasons why I think that is, I think you're one of the most present people. You're the most present person that I've ever known.
Very flattering.
And what I mean by that is I never have 10, 20, 30, even 90% of your attention. It's always 100%. You're always so interested in what's going on in my life, no matter what it is. And I've been through 10 different careers.
I think I said 10 different women. I know it's going to be more than that.
10 different careers, lots of different partners, and lots of different countries and hobbies and fascinations, and every obsession that I've had. You've been there to cheer me on. You came to watch me.
Why not?
Came to watch me fight in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yeah, brilliant.
I'm strangling some guy and I can hear you shouting, "Get him, Tom, get him."
I think that was the lady next door to me.
So funny in the middle of a fight when you can hear your nan's voice.
It's not exactly the audience you want, is it?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it, genuinely. And when I was teaching myself piano.
Oh, that was incredible.
Whenever you heard me open the piano, you'd come in and sit and just watch me practice.
It still tears me out.
And after every rendition, whether I completely botched it up or it was a good one, you'd give me a round of applause. And yeah, I've never felt like anyone is more in my corner.
That's lovely. And I thank you very, very much. I'm very flattered.
And one of the things that's happened quite with the social media recently is a lot of people have been asking me to start an OnlyFans. Do you know what OnlyFans is?
No.
OnlyFans is a page where you can basically sell naked photos of yourself for money.
I'm not doing it to you. I don't care how much. I am not doing it. But how much would you pay me if I should do it?
I'm not paying you anything, but I'm sure there's a niche out there for you.
Right. Thank you, no.
People have been asking me to start one.
Oh, for you?
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Yeah, I can understand that, but no, don't do it.
And no, I've not done it. But one of the things that people said, like, well, yeah, your family probably. And I was like, you know what? My nan would support me even if I was doing that. She would cheer me on. She'd probably buy a subscription just to be another follower for me.
I don't think you would need support. I think it would stand up on its own.
Yeah, it's not a route that I'm going to head down, but it's
flattering for you to think that people are that interested in your body. But you are more interested in what they are as people, aren't you? What they look like.
Maybe.
So what about this one that did take off with Julia?
Julia.
Julia.
Social media.
It's Julia with an accent, isn't it?
Julia with an R.
Julia, yeah. That really took off, didn't it?
Yeah.
Is it still going?
It's still going.
You're not putting so much into it.
I'm not putting so much into it. I think I've started moving in to this kind of content.
Which is part of your growth.
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly. And it's still something that I want to continue because I love Julia. I love working with her, and I love what we built and how we both helped each other grow so much. She says to me, she's like, "You changed my life," because she was working in a job that she hated. And through doing the social media thing with me, she then had people reaching out to her, asking her to work with them on social media. And now she's doing a lot better in a career that she actually
That's
is made
wonderful.
for. But she's changed my life as well. And in some ways worse because it meant that, I ended up losing my job.
Stability, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a decision that I made to walk away from. But yeah, it was definitely, the social media was a catalyst for that happening. But in so many ways, it's been positive. Like, I had a deep fear of posting things on social media, and I had retreated to my inner citadel where I renounced social media as a wasted time, and it's only for vain people and, insecure people and everything else. And the reason I've done that is because I'd had a bad time on it as a teenager where I wasn't popular and I'd had a bad experience with social media. And I decided I didn't want to take part in it. And I denounced it because, I didn't want it to seem like I was just copped out. It was like, oh no, I think it's bad. But really, I'd always wanted to have a bit more of a social media presence. I've had a pretty cool life. I had lots of,
share.
yeah, I had loads that I could have been putting up there, but I just wasn't doing it. And Julia's helped me conquer that.
Mm.
She's helped me realize quite a lot about myself as well. People were always asking in the comments, why we weren't together. And we got on like a house on fire. Like, we could have the best time. We could meet up and just laugh the whole time. But then we also are both quite emotionally volatile people as well. So we would fight sometimes. And when we fought. And luckily the relationship is so good that afterwards we always make up and it's all back to normal. But yeah, Julia has helped me realize quite a lot of the things about my personality, which aren't great, and I've been working on as a result of it. So I definitely think she's made me a better person, and she's definitely made my life more exciting. That's for sure.
That's lovely to hear. What sort of things did you fight about? The work you were doing or just living?
It was mostly about the social media.
Mm.
When it started out, Julia was gung-ho, and I wasn't where I am now.
That actually came across because there's shyness.
Yeah.
He's actually very attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't realize that, but you can see the shyness like, okay, but go away now.
Yeah. And she had these ideas, and she's a creative genius. She'd be like, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I'd be like, nah. And frustration would come through on her part of the fact that I was, I don't know, clipping the wings of what it could be, right?
She could see the vision. She had the vision.
Exactly. And it was my insecurity that wouldn't let that happen. Mm-hmm. And so then it would just be a case of little escalations, right? She'd get a little bit annoyed. I'd get annoyed if I get annoyed.
Back again.
Yeah. And it's just.
But did you feel differently when you saw people commenting all the time and wanting to say things with you?
Yeah.
It gave you more confidence?
100% it's given me more confidence.
Yeah.
100% it's given me more confidence. And it's made me push my own boundaries of my comfort zone, which is good. That is only ever going to be a good thing. When you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you learn more about yourself, you become a braver person, you become a more well-rounded person. So she was doing me such a favor. And to be honest, she's probably a lot more patient than I could have been in her position. So yeah, I owe her a lot, and I'm so glad.
Why did you not get romantically involved with each other?
She has a love interest, and the whole time we were close friends, like from the get-go. I was tangled up with someone else, she was tangled up with someone else, and we worked together.
Respected your partners.
Yeah, and I think when the friendship is built to a certain level, you then don't want to mess with that.
That's a rare friendship, yeah.
that's what it was. And people on the outside, they can't see that because they just see the snapshots of how well we get along. They see how much fun that we have together, right?
They comment on this too.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, just marry each other already. But I think maybe if when we'd met, both of us were available, maybe there was a chance that something would have happened there. But the fact that the friendship grew into something that was,
I'm a firm believer in friendship into love.
yeah, we were such good friends. And yeah, I never wanted to mess with that. Because I think for me as well, I always get scared whenever I'm getting invested with anyone romantically because I have a history of fucking it up.
Noted.
You can vouch. So weirdly, the more that I like someone, the less I want to get involved with them because I
You
feel
like
like
them.
because I like them, I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to, because I know what I'm like, and I know that I get bored very quickly. I know that 6 months to a year down the line, I'm going to have itchy feet and again be thinking the grass is greener, thinking I want to be independent in another country or so on. And how many? I've had
You've conditioned yourself to feel like that.
Yeah.
At least you recognize it.
like 5 relationships where I've just packed up and moved to the other side of the world and ended the relationship. And yeah,
Literally running away, isn't it?
and I think I would hate to ruin that with Jury. I think Jury is going to be someone that's going to be in my life forever. I think she's always going to be one of my best friends. And I'd never want to fuck with that.
No, that's fair enough, Tom, and that's appreciated. Because to me, it shows you the sort of person you have become.
Mm.
I mean, once upon a time, it didn't matter, would it? You'd got what you wanted, where you wanted it, and thank you very much. But now you really think about people's feelings. You've always been quite sensitive, even as a child you were sensitive.
Mm.
You didn't like to see half a worm or something like that, You were very inquisitive and yeah, you didn't like to see any animals hurt.
Yeah. Remember when you took me to the park and I found that mole that had been bitten by a cat?
No,
I remember this. It was in a place in Baddesley, and we were at the park, and I saw a mole that was on its deathbed because a cat had just been attacking it. And I chased the cat off, and I picked the little wounded mole up, and I took him into the community centre next door. I think I was 5 or 6 years old,
Yeah.
and I walked in with it in my hands, and I was like, "Help! Help! I need
Yes,
help!"
yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I remember I gave it to this adult who told me that they were going to take great care of it. They were going to fix it and everything. And I left and I was like, thank you, goodbye. When I think about it now, I was like 100%. He put the poor thing out of his misery and put it in the bin. But at the time, I thought,
I know exactly how you were feeling.
an adult's got it now, they'll see. Yeah.
That was you caring.
I remember the reason that came into my head was because of the worm thing that you just said about half the worm. When Mum told me that story the other night, which I don't actually remember, but apparently I found a worm, or I'd accidentally broken a worm in half, and I was chasing after my dad and begging him to fix it.
Fix the worm. One day he put in because he helped you with your inquisitiveness and he loved it too. And he had a big jar and he put some budverias and flowers in there and a bee. And butterfly, a button. And you sat and watched this thing for ages and ages, this butterfly on this flower. And you wanted to know everything about it. Why did it do this? Why did it do that? Very inquisitive, which you are still now, and you want to know how things are working.
Definitely so inquisitive. Definitely like learning about new things, different ways of thinking, and podcast was a big.
And this is why sometimes I don't feel that I can match your intelligence or your thoughts. I can only tell you what I'm thinking at the time. And if like when you were a kid, sometimes I make it up. Yeah, I don't.
You worry too much.
Dick.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to ask me? We'll talk about?
I guess going back to the conversation earlier about whatever's next, I was thinking the other day, not stoned for the record, that whatever is afterwards, I feel like I'll see you there.
Hang on to that. Because if there is, I'll wait. I'll be there. I hope I have to wait a hell of a long time.
If it is just some big tangled ball of consciousness floating in the ether, something like that, I feel like maybe.
Thank you too.
I love you.
Love you too. Oh, stop it. Hang on a minute. Nah, I'm being silly now.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much. I think there's going to be an awful lot of editing. Fantastic. But thank you for wanting to do this with me, to be interested enough in me. And I just hope I can let you down.
You haven't. It's
Love you dearly.
exactly what I wanted. It was just a deep conversation.
I love all my family, my son and my daughter and my grandchildren. And that's what it's all about to me. If I can help, it will. I'm no Mother Teresa, believe you me. But and sometimes I feel that finance is the only thing I can help with. But I can help by talking to you because you don't realize it. It helps me too. It helps me have an insight. It's not just the gorgeous Tom who I show photographs of to all the ladies in the lounge and let them come and see you on my computer as the man in the white shirt. And, you know, there's quite a few have come in and had a look. And it's not just that. It's not just drawing your attention of pretty girls on the beach to you. It's being immensely proud of you as the man that you are and what you're doing. And just hope it takes off for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. One last question.
Yes, Tom.
Do you have anything in your life that if you could run it back again, you would do differently?
There are lots of things in my life that I would do differently, but then I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have. I wrote a little poem once about my life, and I called it My Life's Road. And I think the last, if I can remember it, if I'd have known, I'd have got it out and read it. The last paragraph about turning back, but then this would have been that, and there would have been no this. And I wouldn't have what I've got today if I'd have altered some of my career, some of my life. I possibly wouldn't have married my first husband, but then I wouldn't have had my son and my daughter, and I wouldn't have had you. So, you know, what I've got is good. Yeah, there's lots of things I wish I had done. I wish I'd been a different mother. Now that would have changed things perhaps, but I would still have had my kids. And I wish that I had been more support to your mum when she needed a bit of support and I wasn't there for her. Yeah, things like that, things that I could change that wouldn't have altered the outcome of it.
To where you are now, because you're happy where you are.
I am happy where I am now. And I'm happy my family are going to be happy.
You're in a great place.
I am. I'm sitting here talking to Tony and one of the ones I love, I must admit. That's what I love this. To be fair.
You slut.
What? No, it's not incest, Tom. I love you all. I love you all dearly, and you've all got your own little places in me. But I've got to admit that we're special.
Thanks, man.
Thank you too.
That's it.